If you're using ChatGPT for business and still getting generic AI sounding results, I want you to stop, take 10 minutes to do these 3 things I'm going to show you today, and I guarantee you'll see a dramatic improvement. This strategy will help you produce consistent, high quality, on brand output, whether you're writing emails, marketing copy, or strategy documents. If that sounds good, then stick around because this will completely change the way you use ChatGPT. I'm Scott Davison. I'm on a mission to master AI. And what I've found is that when you first start working with AI, it's a bit like having a new intern, an amazing intern. See what I did there? But still an intern who doesn't yet have the context or the experience that you have about your business. But as the AI learns more, it can go from being an intern to an experienced A player or even a strategic advisor. So what I want to show you today is how you can fast track that process. Really what this is about is giving ChatGPT the context it needs, much like training up a new staff member. And there are 3 pieces of information that you can give it that will make a huge difference. The first one is your tone of voice so that ChatGPT can sound like you, not like a generic AI bot. Secondly, your ideal customer profile so that it can write with your customers in mind. And thirdly, your business plan or your vision or your goals so that it has an understanding of your business and your objectives and it can tailor its responses to your specific needs. Now, if you work for a big company or if you're really well organized, you may already have some of this information documented, in which case it's very easy to just add that to ChatGPT. But if you don't, well, you're not alone, and don't worry because I'm going to show you how easy it is to create all 3 of these using, you guessed it, ChatGPT. And to prove it, I'm going to build these 3 documents right now in real time so you can see exactly how it's done and how easy it is. So I'm going to screen share here and talk you through the steps. But as I say, if you're an existing business, you possibly already have a lot of this information available. But for this example, I'm going to go back to a new business that I've been using, a fictional business that I've been using in previous episodes, if you've seen them. We previously created a logo using ChatGPT and a website for this fictional business I've created called WTF Donuts, which is a gluten-free donut business. Let's start with the tone of voice document. Let's assume you don't yet have a tone of voice. As I say, if you already have content that's out there, this is very easy. You could just go to your blog posts or to previous brochures or documents or even emails that you've written that you're very happy with the tone of voice, and you just provide those to ChatGPT and ask it to create the tone of voice document based on that tone of voice that you're happy with. But if you don't have anything and you want to start from scratch, as in this example, you can just get ChatGPT to help you come up with this document. So you could put in a simple prompt here, such as this one. Please help create a tone of voice guide for WTF Donuts. What do you need to know to help with this? So you ask ChatGPT to ask you information to effectively interview you to help you write this document. I'll put this prompt in the show notes in case you want to just copy and paste it. But as you see, it's a pretty simple prompt. You're just asking it to help you write the tone of voice document and what does it need to do this task. And usually what it'll come back with, exactly like this, is before it starts writing the document, it asks you a number of questions. You can see here it's asking me 6 different questions around what the brand personality values, what kind of personality do I want, what are the brand's core values and beliefs, who are my target audience, what's the brand story and origin, where the tone will be used, what direction I want to take it. So these are exactly the sort of process you would go through if you were working with a marketing agency to come up with your tone of voice documents. They'd be asking you all these sorts of questions and using that to write the document. And so you can just go through and answer these questions. You can answer all of them or some of them, either by typing your answers into ChatGPT or to just simply switch to audio mode and just talk through it off the top of your head, answer these questions like in an interview format. And it will then use that to help you write the document. So let's fast track that. And I'll put in the answers. Okay, so I've just quickly gone through and answered some of those questions at a high level. Obviously, the more detail you give it, the better the result you're going to get. But for the purpose of this exercise, I've said the brand personality and values is cheeky and rebellious, and that our core value is that gluten-free shouldn't mean boring. Our target audience, I've said, is Gen Y and millennials on gluten-free diets with an Instagram, TikTok type audience, including uni students. And it asked about the brand story. So I've said we're three friends who all have celiac disease, and we discovered this in our early 20s. We did not want to miss out on all the fun stuff our friends were doing. So we decided to create WTF Donuts, which stands for without the flour. So a little bit of a brand story. Where will it be used? The tone, mainly this is going to be a social media led brand. And I've told it to inject humor and to be a little bit rebellious. It asked me for examples of past copy, which I don't have, or any competitors, which is always a good thing. If you've got competitors or other brands that you really admire, you can use those as a reference to help ChatGPT write a tone of voice that sort of mimics or complements what they're doing. So, as I say, you just go and enter your answers in there in as much or as little detail as you want. You hit go and ChatGPT goes away and produces quite a professional looking tone of voice guide, which you can see here. It's got the brand essence, it's got the voice characteristics, cheeky, rebellious, inclusive, a description, some do's and don'ts, the target audience, and then some example phrases and also some tone watch outs, so things to avoid. Now, this is really good, actually. This is, as I say, this is the kind of document that you would previously need to use maybe a marketing agency to help you create, and it would probably take days or weeks and cost a bit of money. And that's done in, a matter of minutes with ChatGPT. Then what I normally do is ask it, put this into a canvas. So if you haven't used Canvas, Canvas is it pops it up in a editable window like this. That way you can make any changes you want to, or you can just very easily download it as a PDF, or you can copy that into a Google Doc. So let's go ahead and download that. And I've straight away got my WTF tone of voice guide done and ready to give to ChatGPT. So 1 down, 2 to go. Let's move on to the second document, which is your ideal customer profile. This is what will allow ChatGPT to write information and copy that is tailored to your audience. And again, this is something that a lot of businesses will already have documented, in which case, great. But if not, let's go back to ChatGPT and let's paste in or type in the prompt here. So again, a very simple prompt. Can you help me write an ideal customer profile for WTF Donuts? Ask me any questions you need to help build it. And we go through the same process. It goes away, does its thinking, comes back with questions. I then go through and answer those questions, and it will produce the ideal customer profile document for me. So in this case, the questions it's come back with are around demographics, psychographics and lifestyle, the needs and pains of my audience, what are their buying habits, and what are some of their emotional triggers. And there's sort of 3 questions it's asking under each of those. So again, I'll go through now and answer those at a high level so that you can see what it will produce. So I've just provided some high level information. As I say, the more information you have, if you've done any research, if you know, or if you just know a lot about who your target audience is, try and give as much information as you can to ChatGPT. The more information, the better the result. But in my case, I've put in some high-level information about demographics, who we're targeting, where they live, what's the gender mix, what do they care about besides donuts, so fashion, TikTok, activism, putting things like that. How do they identify? They're rebels, they're independent, they're idealistic. I've said that they're students and young workers who like to party, and that they like memes and pop culture, and that the main need we're addressing is that they can't find gluten-free donuts that don't taste like cardboard, and that they're very frustrated by some of the other brands which are a bit boring. How are they going to buy it? So their buying habits, these are for special occasions. They're buying online, or they're buying it as presents for birthday occasions, things like that. And what's the emotional trigger? They want to belong. They're sick of missing out, and they want to treat themselves without the bloat. So high level information, I've entered that in, and ChatGPT now goes off. And again, it's produced the ideal customer profile, which summarizes, demographics, psychographics, needs and pains, buying habits, emotional triggers, and how they discover your WTF. Again, really high quality output in a matter of minutes. I'll open that in a Canvas and simply make any changes I want to make, and then download it. And I've got my tone of my ideal customer profile documented and ready to go. So 2 down, 1 to go. Let's move on to the third document that I'd like you to be able to provide to ChatGPT to give it the context it needs, which is really a business plan. If you've got a business plan on a page, or if you've got a detailed business plan, that's fine. Something that explains a little bit about what the company vision is, and also what your goals and objectives are. But again, the more information you have, the better. But for most businesses, if you don't already have a plan, I'd say just start with a 1-page plan. Business plan on a page. It's a really good process to go through. It's a really good document to have available. And if you haven't done so already, then use ChatGPT to help you do that. Let's just paste in a prompt here. I'd like to create a 1-page business plan for WTF Donuts. And again, I'm asking it to help me come up with that. It obviously knows what all the templates are, what typically a business plan would have in it, and it will come back with the relevant sections and the questions. And here it is, all the sorts of things you would see in a typical 1-page business plan. So vision, mission, products, target market, go-to-market strategy, revenue model, traction, team, and financial needs. So just quickly looking at that, that's a pretty good template for a business plan. Probably the other thing I would typically have in there is some sort of SWOT analysis. But as a starting point, that's a really good place, and you can just go through and answer all those questions. So in this case, instead of going through and answering all those questions, I've just asked ChatGPT, you can see here, please complete it using your best guess. So I've literally just asked it to go ahead and complete my whole business plan for me. I wouldn't recommend doing it that way, but for the purpose of this exercise there, it's done a pretty good job of defining the vision, the mission, the range of products, the target market, and the go-to-market strategy for WTF Donuts. My fictional business now has a plan, a fictional plan, but a really well-written plan in a very professional template that I can now download. So I'll download that one as well, and I've now got my 3 documents downloaded, ready to go. So there you have it. In just a few minutes, literally, we've created 3 professional documents that used to take weeks or cost thousands of dollars, and in many cases never get done at all. So you've now got clear, consistent information about your business, your strategy, your voice, and your customer. And this is helpful not just for ChatGPT, but for your team, for your contractors, and for anyone else who needs to understand your business. But how do you actually use these documents with ChatGPT going forward? I'll show you how to do that now. There's a few options here. So in my case, if I go to ChatGPT, I use the pro version, the paid version, but it's a personal account. So it's just my account that I use. And I use this to manage my own work for personal and for business, but also for clients. And I use the projects feature, which is really useful for this sort of thing. So I've got projects for different clients or different areas of work. I've got one for the podcast, etc. And you can attach these files. You can see here, this is the podcast one. I've got files attached there. So you would create a project for this business, and you would attach these 3 files to that project, so that whenever you're working within that project on this business, ChatGPT can reference those documents. So that's how I use it within the pro version. The personal version of ChatGPT is I add these to projects. You can also use these documents if you're creating custom GPTs, which work much the same as projects. I'll show you an example of that. I've created a custom GPT here for writing social posts for Croydon Travel. And if we go and look at that GPT, you can see that I've attached various things to this custom GPT, including the tone of voice documents and the business plan for that particular client. So again, it just means when you're working within that custom GPT, you can be referencing these documents and helping ChatGPT produce content that's highly customized for your business. More likely, if you're a business with, say, 5 or more employees, it probably makes sense to be on the Teams version or even the enterprise version of ChatGPT, in which case your admin can add these documents to the team version of ChatGPT, so that anyone who's writing copy or producing documents across the whole team or across the whole business is going to be writing it in a consistent tone of voice that's on brand and customized to your ideal customer and in line with your business strategy and plan. So that's where this becomes really powerful. If you've got multiple people using ChatGPT within the business, they're all referencing the same documents. That's why this is a really powerful way to get consistent results out of ChatGPT. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that episode and found that information useful. Please go away and try and do those 3 things. It really will make a big difference to the quality of output you're getting from ChatGPT. And as you saw, it can be done quite quickly just using those prompts. I'll put the prompts in the show notes so you can just copy and paste them, and you can produce those 3 documents if you don't already have them. It'll be a really valuable exercise to go through and really valuable documents to have for your business. And then you upload them to ChatGPT to start getting better results out of ChatGPT. Hope you're finding this information really helpful. If you are, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Any questions, any feedback, I'd love to hear that. So put it in the comments below and make sure you subscribe so that you get notified of the next episode, which will be coming out next week. Until next week, thank you for joining me on this journey to learn more about AI. I'm Scott Davison, and this is my way or the AI way.